So let's get into the actual OTAs themselves, and I'll answer Jay's question because I see you there, Jay, as well. Uh, yeah, I did not watch the OTAs because I had work. Crazy thing there, but I went through and read all the reports from pretty much every reporter that I could find that was on there. So it's about 7 or 8 different guys that I read up their reports on. And a lot of good news on it there. Now, I will give people the heads up ahead of time. This is an OTA thing. Whenever there is a good play, keep in mind it's a giant on giant play. Like the Giants are facing the Giants right now. Whenever there's a good play, the Giants and a lot of reporters don't typically tell you who had the bad part of the play. Meaning, if there's a touchdown, that means somebody gave up a touchdown. If there's an interception, that means someone threw an interception. Like they don't typically tell you the bad, just the good half of that. Um, so practice was basically the first day, which is yesterday, the 27th, was mostly just individual drills, team drills, those kind of things there. The more fun one was today, which was the start of the actual, 7-on-7, 10-on-10 kind of drills there. And the practice was 100% set up at the 10-yard line. So in a red zone situation there. So a lot of touchdowns because of that. Russell Wilson threw a touchdown to Eric Gray to be the first one here to start the day. Darius Slayton also caught one as well. Wearing number 18, by the way, now, Darius Slayton. The next series there, Slayton also caught one from Jameis Winston. And then Winston threw 2 touchdowns altogether, one each to Jalen Hyatt, Montreal Washington, who, of course, spent the last couple of years with the Chiefs there. Greg Dulcich, the tight end that we got towards the end of the season last year, go along with Darius Slayton's. Jaxson Dart threw for 4 touchdowns, including one to his Ole Miss teammate from last year in Juice Wells. That's the undrafted rookie free agent we got there from Ole Miss. Threw another one to Hyatt as well, and another one over to Dante Miller, Turbo Miller there, who also had a nice run-off pitch that he scored for a touchdown as well. Had 3 total touchdowns, did Dante Turbo Miller there. Again, you all know that if you watch the show on a regular basis, Rob and I are both big fans of Turbo Miller. I've been rooting for the kid. It's a great story overall. What interesting side note is, and I've read a couple different people say the same thing, that basically there was like glue on Brian Daboll and Jaxson Dart. Like Daboll was next to him pretty much the entire time. Listen, if he is the quarterback guru that people say, I'm glad to see that. That's for sure. I think he kind of understands the assignment here. This year is all about the growth and potential of Jaxson Dart, and he is definitely all over that. Tommy DeVito threw for 3 touchdowns as well, or to Jordan Bly, the undrafted rookie free agent from Gardner Webb, the son of Dre Bly. So the final quarterback breakdowns on 7-on-7 and 11-on-11s. This is according to Connor Hughes, who posted it on X, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it nowadays. Russell Wilson had 15 reps, all with the starters. Jameis Winston, 15 reps, all with backups. Jaxson Dart had 14 reps, 3 with the starters. And Tommy DeVito, 4 reps, all with the reserve team there. So you can definitely see that they are – the key with this is Jaxson Dart. They're getting a lot of time in with him. Your third quarterback usually doesn't get as much reps as the first 2 do. That's for sure. So they're definitely treating him a little different, which is good to see. They gave him a couple of reps with the starters as well. Again, good to see. At some point, listen, we all think that at some point he's probably going to be the starter. And I think barring any kind of crazy playoff run and it being a tight race down the stretch there, he'll probably see some time towards the end of the season. So it's good to get him time with the starters now, because that's much harder to do later on as the season's going and you're trying to, set up plans of action there. So these OTAs and the training camp coming up there shortly, those are the things that really, really need to get, time with Jaxson Dart to have with these starters here. Now, the other fun thing that I was reading a couple places too, as well, is the Giants were apparently moving linemen all over the place, especially the young linemen. Now, a lot of people I've seen kind of speculating this is for depth reasons. You want, if a guy is a guard, you want to be able to play tackle potentially as well. You want to play in both sides of guard, or maybe you put a guard in towards the center and let him play that position there, and try guys out of different spots, especially when they're younger and don't have a lot of experience, and It means you don't have a lot of experience with them. You don't know what their strengths are or weaknesses, just what you saw on tape in college. But I'm also wondering though if it is the Giants also just feeling it out and seeing where people are best at. Marcus Bowe obviously is one guy that I'm really curious about that. Again, he was listed as a tackle by the Giants. A lot of people, including myself, do think he's best suited as a guard. So he's one guy I'm curious about, as things progress this offseason to see where he ends up. As Brian Daboll did announce, like almost immediately after drafting him, that they're going to start him off at the tackle position. So again, I do think he's better off as a guard, but we'll see what happens. Like, obviously Daboll's got more time with him than I do, so I'm going to trust him and hope that he's right and I'm wrong at that point. Obviously, now with the line there, obviously Andrew Thomas and John Runyon Jr. also were both out, as we said. So the starting offensive line was James Hudson, Aaron Stinney, John Michael Schmitz, Greg Van Roden, and Jermaine Illuminor. So obviously center and the right side were all the same, but it was interesting that James Hudson is the guy who came in to replace Andrew Thomas. Again, that's going to be an important position. Andrew Thomas has been injured how many times now, guys? Every year there's the injury with him lately. So, hopefully this is the year that breaks that streak. But if not, it's something to look at there to see who's going to be the guy who starts at left tackle if that were to happen there. Now, another big thing we've been talking about all off season here, who's going to be calling the plays? Well, Mike Kafka was clearly calling the plays all throughout the OTA here. Now, again, is that going to be the way it is in the regular season? I don't know. We're going to have to find out and see what happens there. But at least it's a sign that there's a potential that Mike Kafka is the guy calling the plays here in the regular season. It might also be that this is something they plan on not doing in the regular season, but they just want to give a chance to have Brian Daboll, sit there and spend more time one-on-one with Jaxson Dart as he's working and focus on that. So, we'll have to see what happens there overall. Now, on the defensive side, let's be honest here, it did not sound like a very good day from everything you're seeing there. We talked about the fact that, these guys each had 3-4 touchdowns apiece and only had 14 snaps apiece. So, that's a pretty high percentage of getting touchdowns there, obviously. But defense was obviously also put in a non-advantageous position, I guess is probably the best way to put it, by having them at the 10-yard line. But again, there were some good plays. Dane Belton and Micah McFadden each had a touchdown. Each had an interception. Now, again, they don't like to tell you who had the bad part. Ed Valentine did tell us that it was the interception was from Jameis Winston to Dane Belton as he threw up into coverage there, as he worded that, into a crowd. So, yeah, Winston being Winston there at that point. Again, we got to take the good with the bad. Winston, he's going to give you some touchdowns. He's going to give you some interceptions. It's the nature of the beast is what he is. Now, Dane Belton also had a nice tackle for a loss on a quarterback run as well. Then, linebackers Chris Board and Darius Muasau also had some nice pass coverage plays as well. And Brian Burns had a play that would have been a sack had there be contact on the day. Again, there's no contact during OTAs. So you kind of have to go, okay, well, he got to the quarterback. He probably would have got him down, and the play would have ended there. So that's what they're going with there. As I see a J there with is Ed Valentine, a friend of the show. He's not a friend or a not friend. I'll put it that way. We like Ed Valentine. We just haven't had him on the show, so we won't call him a friend of the show until he's on the show. But like I said, he's a decent source of information, that's for sure. He's pretty well connected to what's going on with the Giants there. See, Ronald says, I'm wondering how Hyatt and Neal are doing. I heard Hyatt looks bigger and stronger than last year. Well, that's not saying much because, quite frankly, it looks like a human toothpick in a football uniform the last couple of years there. I think there's going to be a role for Hyatt this year. I really do. We're going to get into him in a little bit there because the news story did break on him. But again, whenever you mention players on this roster to Russell Wilson, he makes it a point to mention Jalen Hyatt. He also happens to throw a very nice deep ball. There's some other issues that Russell Wilson had. He's an average quarterback at this point. He's not the one he used to be a couple of years ago, obviously. But he can throw a good deep ball still. And obviously, Jalen Hyatt runs deep, runs fast. So I do think that they're going to see, a decent role for him, at least in the training camp And during preseason, the Giants can do everything they can to give him a chance to be successful. It's going to be up to him whether he actually is, though. He's got to look in the mirror and say that, yeah, we haven't had the best quarterback to throw deep to, but he hasn't really added much to his repertoire, so to speak, there. So, I'm not sure. So, which way it's going to be kind of a boom or bust training camp and all for him, I think, where either he things kind of snap and he gets the right quarterback and all of a sudden he can, be a contributor to this offense, or you're going to go, okay, no, he's had every chance he can get, and it's just not that good. But like I said, time will tell there. Again, it's the first couple of days, the OTAs. You only have one day really with the drills like that, with the 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s there that you got a good chance to see there. Some of at least the plays there. Listen, let's be honest, the last couple of years, what's been the stories? The defense looks great. The offense looks horrible. The offense, it was putting up some touchdowns today. It's a good change of pace there. Hopefully it's a good sign of things to go. But again, they're putting up touchdowns on our defense. That's kind of also a little scary there too. So,
thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the Goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.